Did you know that Africa is the second largest continent, holding a population of approximately 1.5 billion people? But it is said in such a large number, we still seem to be lagging behind in nearly all the things that we do. But what could be the reason of all this? My audience, join me on this journey as I try to uncover some little things that could be the reasons of who we are today, of who we were yesterday, and of who we could be in the near future, of what our offsprings could be if we do not give ourselves the chance to unlearn and to learn some of the little things that could not make sense to you right now, but could be the reason of what our mindset is today. Africa holds a million number of young, brilliant people. As a continent, as a country, we hold such intelligent people, we hold such smart people, we hold young people. Like, young people are a resource to any country. They are a resource to any country, and they are the future of that country. They are the future of that continent. But yet, as Africa holding such young people, we cannot feed ourselves our potential, our maximum potential ability. And so some of the questions I have been asking myself for the past 2 years. I have found myself trying to think through what could be the things that Zimbabwe as a country we could be missing, that could seem little in our eyes, that could seem insignificant in our eyes, but yet holds impact to who we are as individuals, to who we are as households, to who we are as a country, to who we are as a continent. Today, I think is the right day for me to share my mind with different fellow Africans, with different fellow Zimbabweans. Well, I'm Zimbabwean by birth and by upbringing. I am proud Zimbabwean, and although apparently I am in South Korea, but in South Korea that I have been able to sit down and kind of make a collection of, I don't know if you can see, but that's a lot of paper, and every single paper has some ideas, some thoughts that I think there could be some of the things that could answer the questions I had every single day. And the first thing that came to mind before starting everything was, when you look at a person, at an individual, the first thing that comes to mind is their childhood or their background, right? And for me, I think background marks a big defining an individual. And being an African, being a Zimbabwean, I just identified this as African upbringing, right? And within this big topic, African upbringing, I found myself diving into two aspects, which I thought, Leona standing before you right now, her childhood is marked by two things, which are the family she grew up in. Family, being an African society, is also included. And number two, school environment, right? Because I believe we have all been shaped to be the individuals that we are from the families that we've grown up from, or from the school environments that we have been taught from, right? I think you would agree with me on these two concepts. And I found myself saying the home upbringing, which I so called it the home upbringing. What are the things that we have adopted as Africans to bring up our children that could be somehow shaping this generation of people who are not proud of their continent, who are not proud of their country, who are not proud of their skin color, who are not proud of the environment that they are in, or are not proud of their language, or are not proud of their body statures, who could not be proud of many things. I could go on and on and on. And I just found myself thinking, mostly in the Zimbabwean food upbringing, within the family level, well, we have this aspect of Ubuntu, where it also includes that it is not your child alone, but is a child for everyone, right? And I'm not so sure if this concept is really still valid at this point of time, which I wish could be still valid, because the young people are losing their morals every single day, and yet a neighbor could see this child, but they no longer have the voice to correct them the way our elders used to. Well, that's another topic for another day. But well, on the family aspect, growing up, there are certain voices that keep on penetrating your head, which I believe distorting this confidence that we should have as Africa. Voices such as, you are better off in another continent, you are better off in the Western world, you are better off in these so-called white collar jobs, mostly if you are abroad. And for a very long time, I also believed in this concept, because, as I said, I'm actually recording this video in a far continent from Africa, in Asia. To be honest, every single day I have come to realize that this was actually wrong. Well, don't get me wrong, going outside of your country, I don't mean you won't get opportunities, I don't mean there are no greener pastures, but I think the way we have been putting it up to our children, the way we have been putting it up to our society, just has made us to get the wrong concept of so-called abroad, so-called diaspora. I'm going to get more into this, because I have actually written a separate analysis over this misconception of the diaspora, but today I'm just going to be mentioning some of the things that I think within the family, within the school environment, could be the reasons why we are not reaching our full potential. So this could be one of the things. The second thing I found myself is we try by all means to separate our children from our old way of living. Well, this could be addressing to my elders. I think it's high time to get our children, younger generations, me also included, over what makes Zimbabwean culture, what makes Zimbabwean people, what made my elders to survive in Zimbabwe. As we all know, Zimbabwe is a country with abundant land, abundant fertile land for that matter, by failing to equip the young children, to equip as many people as possible over how best to put high yields from this land. And this is the same concept that I'm talking about. If there's sit down at family level, society level, at country level, at continent level, and share some of the concepts that made them to survive to be who they are at this point of time. If you would believe with me, that really would make an impact. Graduate today is failing to get payment, is failing to get a job that they have been studying for many years for, because some of these jobs, to be honest, they are not so compatible to the environment that we are living in. But there are some things which are really common that make up Zimbabwe, that make up Africa, such as farming, right? Such as mining, such as, those main basic concepts. But we have actually seen that our elders, as time goes on, they have tried to somehow protect the young generation from being exposed to this hard life, which could be hard, but to be honest, that's what made them survive. That's what could also make us survive. That's what could also make our future country a better one. Why? Because taking concepts from our elders, developing them, we are going to find out that we are going to be on a better state. I think this is also one of the reasons why, as Africans, we are also not so good at passing down what is called generational wealth, because we try to separate so much the past with the present. We try to separate so much what we are doing from our families, from our children, from our wives, from our husbands, because we have tried to groom ourselves at an individual level. And this, to be honest, has been failing us as a country. This honestly has been failing us as a continent. Still on family issue, have you heard of mindset of you cannot talk of being a farmer, you can never talk of that dream? The only dream that puts a smile on your family's face, that puts a smile on your society's face, is white collar jobs. But are these white collar jobs not the same jobs that are living of the graduates today jobless? Are they not the same jobs that are leaving many Africans with no opportunity, but rather fleeing from their countries to find greener pastures somewhere else, which at some point they are so disappointed because what they have been made to believe is not what they find on the ground. And this makes me so emotional because for a very long time, Africans, we have been made to believe that we are only better if we are outside of our environment. We are only better if we are among the white people. We are only better if we are within the so-called fast-growing economies, which somehow Africa as a continent, we have failed to put ourselves. Now let's move on to the school upbringing. When I just talk of this, many memories flash into my mind, which are somehow funny and somehow emotional. Because as Africa, as Zimbabwe, we have really failed our education system. For real, we have failed our education system from very many aspects. The first aspect could be the curriculum on its own. I remember when I was in my high school, we had two types of history, and we had the traditional history and the European history. To be honest, I know much more about the European history than the African history. Ask why. I think the best answer of this is just that European or Western is better than African. That's what we've been made to believe, right? But don't you think this is one of the reasons why we do not even know much more about our own countries? We do not even know much more about our own ancestors. We do not even know much more about the environment that we are living in. We have been made to believe that English is the way to go within the school environment. I remember back then in my primary and in my secondary education, if I was caught speaking my mother language, which is Shona, that was a punishable offense. That was a very punishable offense, from beating to some punishments such as maybe picking up school trash and all that. But today I find myself asking, is language not one of the things that differentiate a country from another? Is language not that one treasure that build together the mindsets, the practices of a group of people, of a group of country? It is, but we have failed ourselves. In Zimbabwe right now, a child from a very young age is made to speak in English. The parents stop the child to do something wrong, encourage the child to do something, speak to the child, greet the child, play games and all that in English. And when they showcase this, it looks like, oh wow, they're doing well. Your child is very learned. Your child is an English child. But is this how we want to be identified? I think so. I think we are just losing ourselves every single day with things that seem silly, but they are really shaping the people that we will be, the people that we are. At this point of time, I'm not sure that 800 out of 100, nearly 60% of Zimbabwean children fail Shona in their learning environment. We are in high school, when a child is asked to learn English literature or Shona literature, you find that actually, I remember in my stream, no one wrote the Shona literature. Everyone wanted to write the English literature. But as this goes on, we are going to find out that we are devaluing our own Shona authors. We are devaluing our own values, morals, education, language, way of living, and all this are the things that African children, let's wake up. Let's start seeing what makes up the environment around us. If it's breaking us or is it building us? When I actually arrived in South Korea, one of the most amazing things which caught my attention, people, well, the young generation, they do know English, but to be honest, when you go outside there, no one is going to speak with you in English. No one. I literally mean no one. Even if someone understands you, but they're just going to stand and look at you like, girl, what are you saying? Till you speak my language, that's when I'm going to help you. And somehow this has showed me like this side of them that they have been strong to keep up with their values. They've been strong to keep up with their culture. They've been strong to preserve what makes them different from any other country that we would think of. Communicating with one another, they're better at passing down the things that make them Koreans. But when I actually go back to my own country, now look at me. I have been made to believe English was the way to go. But now look, I'm on a race, running away from my country. I am in another country, and I'm now forced again to learn another language. Believe me, agree with me that from the beginning, if I had not made English a fuss, learning it, but to learn another language again. Someone would say, well, you're competitive in the market. Well, yeah, but that's also one other lie I think that has been told to us to make us lose our own values, so that we are so focused on being competitive in the market. Which market? Which market? Right? If you are to go to the US, even with your English, well, yes, you could find opportunities, but it just takes as much effort. Africans, I think it's high time to just appreciate who we are. I think that's just going to be the beginning of another step towards prosperity, another step towards building a better nation, building a better tomorrow or a better future, by first unlearning some of the little things that we have become so accustomed to, which affect our brains, which affect our mindsets, which affect our thinking, such as this. in our family environment, think, are you teaching your child things that are going to make them appreciate their continent, their country, that are going to make them want to come another day home, that are going to make them want to grow another day, to build a different, better future for the country they are in, for the continent they are in? Or you are making them to think and to detach themselves from their country and their continent. You choose. But you would agree with, don't want Africa to remain the same as today. So I think it's right time for you and me to make a difference over the things that we teach, the things that we preach about Africa, the things that we see about Africa. Africa, we are far blessed, more than you can imagine. From land itself, me coming here, seeing how people have to hike to go to school because schools are built on mountains. Not because it's by choice, but it's because they just don't have enough land. But Africa, look at us. So why not start today to make a difference over using wisely the resources that we have? But this can only be made possible if we surround ourselves with the mindsets that are going to teach us positivity about Africa, that are going to teach us that Africa has the best to offer, that are going to teach us that things could not be okay today, but if we work, if we put the right education systems that collaborate, that match with the current African environment, we could be better people. Start teaching children how to proper farming methods. Every child should be able to know proper farming methods. Why? Because that's what we have readily available for us. We don't want to be farmers, but we have to be farmers. Because that's what we have at our own reach. Right? If someone had just told me that being for white collar jobs does not mean you are being detached from the pain of work, that you are being detached from the pain of working 24 hours, that you are being detached from the stresses of life, that means you could be a farmer, doctor, but you're just going to face pain. Nothing comes for free. So it's high time we choose to know that what we have, we can use it for our advantage. What we have, we can be open that it's going to be difficult, but it's going to bring the best of us because that's what we have. If we start putting our minds together, if we start putting positive minds together, I tell you, we are going to make it. I tell you, we are going to make a difference. As you see that child growing every single day, why not start positiveness about their continent, positiveness about their culture, positiveness about the things that are around them that could make them appreciate their country, their continent another day. Not children who are just waiting for the day they will escape their country. I tell you, if we do not change that, Africa is just going to be a graveyard. Because at this point of time, of our smart people, they are fleeing and they only come back when sick, when retiring, when they are now useless. And we are building more graveyards than we should be putting more investments and more developments. Child, rise up.